Tonight on Newswatch, we'll get you up to speed on the latest debate results.
And find out how Iowa communities are coping with the rainfall and flooding from last week.
I'll catch you up on all the cyclone excitement from this weekend, plus more in the sports world.
Temperatures are showing signs of fall. I'll let you know all about it right next. You're watching Newswatch.
This is Newswatch 18. Newswatch 18 starts now.
Good evening and welcome to Newswatch. I'm Ben Elliott.
And I'm Courtney Dust. Thank you for joining us. Heavy flooding continues to take its toll on eastern Iowa as the Cedar River crested at 21.9 feet this morning. The city of Cedar Rapids has set up a system of barriers and temporary flood walls to contain the rising floodwater levels. While the river levels are largely controlled, city officials are advising citizens to stay away from flood walls in the event of sudden breach and for evacuated families, businesses to remain clear of the area. Workers are still fighting rising water levels in the city's sewer systems, which may cause basements to flood. The National Weather Service has reduced its river projections as the Cedar Rapids is expected to drop by as much as a foot within the 24 hours.
Ames is finally starting to dry out after heavy rain flooded the area late last Thursday night. The flash floods led to stalling cars and left roads in several feet of water. Police reported flooding up to bumpers of cars parked in Jack Trice Stadium, and Squaw Creek flooded and continued to rise over Lincoln Way. A few buildings on the Iowa State campus, including Parks Library and the Food Science Building, were taken up by more than a foot of water, according to custodial staff. The Ames area was under a flash flood warning all of Thursday night until the rain subsided early Friday morning. Most of the flooding has subsided with only a few areas in the city left with standing water.
The Iowa State cherry pies are back. This delicious tradition has kicked off Human Sciences Week, which has started yesterday. The cherry pie tradition started in the 1920s in order to raise money for the Home Economics Club, but now 90 years later, this sweet treat helps raise money for scholarships within the College of Human Sciences. They were originally part of the university's Visha celebration until its cancellation in 2014.
People love to have the cherry pies and celebrate all that is unique to the College of Human Sciences. When Visha was no longer held on campus, we still heard from our constituents and students and across the campus that they wanted to be able to have those.
These cherry pies sell for $2, and if there are any extras left, they will be sold in the Joan Bice Underwood Tea Room in McKay Hall during its regular mealtime of 11:50 a.m. to 12:50 p.m.
Iowa State students gathered in the Memorial Union last night to watch the 2016 first presidential debate. The College of Liberal Arts and Sciences hosted the watch party in the Great Hall. Around 100 students came to this event, along with a few faculty members. Supporters of both candidates, Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton, were fairly vocal throughout the debate, although opinions on who won the debate have yet to be determined. The next presidential debate is scheduled for Sunday, October 9th at Washington University in St. Louis.
Did you know you can rent a puppy here at Iowa State? Coley Berggren has more.
On this hot and humid day, Iowa State students came to Central Campus to support a good cause and play with puppies.
People come, they rent a puppy dog for 30 minutes, and then proceeds go to the shelters that work with us.
This is the 7th year sorority Sigma Lambda Gamma has put on Rent a Puppy, and the turnout is better than ever.
This is the first time I see it get booked, like right away. Like we had every slot taken, and there was actually a waiting list in case someone didn't show up.
The Boone Animal Shelter and the Diamond in the Rough Rescue provided the dogs.
We have older dogs, we have young dogs, so whatever's at the shelter that needs a home.
Sigma Lambda Gamma is expected to raise about $2,000 for their philanthropy.
The money raised definitely has a positive impact on the dogs, but the dogs have an even greater impact on the students.
I personally love this event just because I'm an animal science major, so it's a field I'm trying to go into.
With Mary Kahn and Coley Berggren, I'm Maria Lizignoli, iState News.
Iowa State University President Stephen Leith made a donation of $15,000 to the ISU Foundation after news broke of him crashing a school-owned plane. Leith damaged the aircraft when flying to North Carolina in July 2015 for both personal and school business. The university said in an official statement last Friday that Leith encountered a microburst, a localized downdraft within a thunderstorm, and as a result experienced a hard landing at the Bloomington, Illinois airport. According to the school, Leith holds FAA pilot certification for a single-engine aircraft, and he has flown the plane several times before. The damage in Illinois cost $12,000, which was paid for by the university using discretionary funds. Leith has reimbursed the university for previous travel expenses totaling $4,637. We'll be right back after the news break with more news, sports.
Welcome back to Newswatch. The first presidential debate of the election season was last night to a record-breaking 84 million viewers. The Democratic candidate Hillary Clinton and the Republican candidate Donald Trump engaged in a 90-minute debate that covered a multitude of topics. Some of the highlights from the night included a thorough back and forth about tax and trade, an open discussion on the racial divide and violence in America, as well as an evaluation of each other as a candidate. The next presidential debate will take place Sunday, October 9th in St. Louis, Missouri. Next Tuesday, Virginia will host the only vice presidential candidate debate of the election cycle. The general election will be Tuesday, November 8th this year.
A small town in New York eagerly awaits a verdict on a crime committed nearly 5 years ago. Nick Hillary is on trial for the murder of his ex-girlfriend's 12-year-old son back in 2011. Residents of the town say they want closure after this devastating event occurred in their otherwise peaceful town. A verdict is set to be delivered on Wednesday morning.
Congress may override President Obama's veto on a bill for the first time ever. The bill in question would allow families of 9/11 victims to sue Saudi Arabia. Details for vetoing a bill are outlined in Article 1 of the Constitution. The House and Senate both require a 2/3 majority vote to override a president's veto. If the bill receives the appropriate amount of override votes, it will then become law. Congress is set to vote on Wednesday.
A doctor on an Air China flight did his best MacGyver impression when he saved the life of another passenger using a spoon and a toothpick. Tian Yu, a medic from Shanghai, sprang into action when he realized another passenger was showing symptoms of an epileptic seizure. Yu used a spoon to hold down the man's tongue so he wouldn't choke, and then used a toothpick and traditional Chinese medicinal methods to bring the man back to consciousness after the seizure had ceased. The man regained consciousness while on the flight and was even able to sit up and ask for water by the flight's end. After the flight, Yu reminded the passenger to always remember his medicine while flying in the future.
Today is National Voter Registration Day. The third Tuesday in September of every year has been designated since 2008 as a day for eligible U.S. citizens to register to vote in elections. Social media sites such as Tumblr and Twitter linked American users to the homepage for National Registration Day in efforts to bring awareness to it. Iowans have until October 29th to register to vote in the upcoming presidential election.
And now we'll head over to Taylor Mankle with your weather. Taylor?
Yeah, I'm right here. You don't have to go very far. We've got fall temperatures coming up. I'll tell you all about it up next here on Newswatch. Welcome to Newswatch. I'm Taylor Mankle here with your weather report. We're going to start off with current temps in the state of Iowa. As you can see, Ames, Iowa right now, 64 degrees, and it's very similar across the state. We're a little more cold up on the north side, Mason City at 58 degrees, a little warmer on to Sioux City, and then of course we've got 60 degrees over in Davenport. Now, we're going to look at some clouds and radar. As you can see, we have a front moving in here as the green represents rain. The yellow, you can see it spiking in and out. That is actually some thunderstorms. You'll see it just grabs the edge of the state of Iowa. Don't expect too much here tonight. Maybe we'll get a couple showers. You can see a very isolated storm right here in Ames, Iowa, but shouldn't be too much tonight as opposed to what we've been seeing recently in Ames. Now, as we look forward, we've got fall temperatures. They're here and they should be staying, but we have a sunny week ahead and a warmer weekend. We'll get back into those 70s coming up on the weekend. As we look across the nation, some clouds and radar. As you saw, that front that we were looking at earlier is really the most dangerous chance of precipitation we see across the nation here coming in from Minnesota and Wisconsin. We've got a little bit going on over in around the Phoenix area, a little precipitation there, but not too much across the globe. As we looked at tonight's lows in Iowa, Ames, we've got 45 degrees, 47 in Des Moines, a little warmer down there, but it's very similar across the state. A little colder over in South Dakota. We might see a little bit of that on the western side of the state. As we look at tonight for Ames, 42 degrees. It will be very clear skies out there. Fall-like temps very in effect tonight with winds only at 5 to 15 miles per hour. We look into tomorrow, 68 for the high, beautiful day, cool, partly cloudy, and the winds won't be too much, only 8 to 10 miles per hour. Now we look at your extended forecast. We've got some chances for rain to start the weekend. Friday with the high of 71, low of 48. Small chance of rain there that will continue on into early Saturday. Hopefully that won't affect the football game coming up, as Iowa State will be against Baylor this Saturday in Jack Trice Stadium. Shouldn't affect it too much. Still beautiful, beautiful weather, 70 degrees, and that will continue into next week. Only a 40% chance of rain on that Tuesday, but of course, make sure to check out our broadcast on Thursday to get more up-to-date weather from that. That's all I have time for. Stay tuned. Imani will have sports right after this.
Iowa State fans are still worrying about the Cyclones' first win of the season last Saturday against San Jose State. Entering week 4 of college football, the team came as what Coach Campbell likes to call them A players. Their strong performance led to a 44-10 victory against the Spartans. Fans held onto their seats as the Cyclones made 4 interceptions and 3 more turnovers than they had in the previous games. Campbell said he will still continue to rotate both Joel Lanning and Jacob Park. We hope the Cyclones can maintain this chemistry on the field as they prepare for their upcoming home game against Baylor this Saturday. This was a very meaningful week for the Cyclones. In addition for their victory, they welcomed Dan McCartney into the Hall of Fame with open arms. McCartney is a former head football coach for the Cyclones, leading them to victory after victory. With winning records of 5 of the 6 seasons, the Cyclones has only had 1 winning season since his tenure. Coach Campbell brought McCartney back onto the team as a mentor and to turn some of that luck around. J.P. Filbert, future with the Cyclones, is skating on thin ice. Appearing in 10 games last season, this redshirt junior became a major key reserve for the Cyclones. Filbert did start at left tackle for the first 2 games, but quickly benched right after. He violated team policy right before they took on Texas Christian University. Campbell says he will remain indefinitely suspended until announced otherwise. It did, however, give DeMonte Ruth a chance to shine during last week's game against San Jose. Coach Campbell said Ruth will definitely be back. Last week, the Brownlee brothers may have just broken the internet as the two moved across the 700-meter finish line hand in hand. Alistair Brownlee and brother Johnny made history during the World Triathlon Series. Johnny became disoriented due to heat exhaustion, making it nearly impossible for him to control his legs. Alistair quickly noticed his brother and moved out of 3rd place to grab him. Despite heroic efforts, the Brownlee brothers were beaten by South African Henry Shulman. Either way, this memorable moment did go down in history as one of the greatest sports images in the modern era. Perhaps the biggest and saddest news coming out of the golf world today, legend Arnold Palmer passed away at age 87. He is best known for his excellent drives that were unheard of in the sports before he came along. Along with Jack Nicklaus and Gary Palmer, he is a member of the Big Three and won a total of 62 PGA titles. He was inducted into the World Golf Hall of Fame in 1974. His legacy not only includes his golf accomplishments, but also a drink half tea and half lemonade. Tragedy shook the baseball world this weekend when Miami Marlins pitcher Jose Fernandez died late Saturday night. Fernandez and 2 friends were killed in a boating accident when the fishing boat crashed into a jetty. Both the Marlins and the NFL team Miami Dolphins honored his memory at recent home games. He was only 24 years old. And that's it for sports. We'll be right back with more Newswatch after the break.
It's not every day you have a celebrity at your wedding, not to mention one that didn't plan to be there. According to BBC, while on a jog in Central Park, Oscar-winning actor Tom Hanks bumped into a newly married couple just as they were taking their professional photos. All three used the coincidental occurrence to take a selfie, which Hanks posted on his Instagram account, which has 67,000 likes so far. The couple later commented on Hanks' appearance, saying that it was the icing on the cake to the perfect wedding. Tom Hanks stars in the new feature film, Sully, which is in theaters now.
Students at Drake University are working hard on a campaign to bring rapper Drake to Drake. The campaign itself has been around since 2009 and has already received national attention, but was given new life earlier this week after students produced a video uploaded to Vimeo on Sunday evening. In the video, students give their reasons why the superstar should visit the university. Even the official social media accounts for Drake University have joined in. Drake is scheduled to perform with fellow rapper Future at the Wells Fargo Arena on October 4th.
Notorious pharmaceutical CEO Martin Shkreli using his unpopularity for a good cause. The former CEO of Turing Pharmaceutical, known for raising the prices of AIDS medication by over 5,000% last year, is auctioning off the opportunity to punch him in the face. The proceeds of the auction will go to the children of Mike Kulik, a friend and PR manager to Shkreli, who passed away last Saturday. The child, 6-year-old Tyler Kulik, has been fighting with leukemia since he was 2 years old. Donations would greatly help to pay medical costs and other support. Shkreli has stated one donor has already offered $78,000 for the hit.
And that's all for tonight's edition of Newswatch.
Tune in next Thursday for another edition of Newswatch for more Iowa State news, sports, and weather.
Have a great evening from ISUtv. Come back at 9 for Cyclone Insiders with Hong Wong, Mary Grominger, Emerson Sears, and our own Ben Elliott.